Hi, welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you're a current subscriber. Today I'm analyzing a Julia Zelg video with her now fiance, Keith. Let's get into it.
So we tell each other what we've been up to, but because me and you are always together 24/7, we can't really do that because we know what we've been up to. And it wouldn't be natural for us to just be like pretending we don't know and just, yeah. As you know,
Right off the bat, a few things I want to note are that the two make eye contact pretty regularly. Their blink rate is normal here. They both look like they're taking up a lot of space and they're opposite of each other, but this is not resistance and opposition. This is a couple that is pretty comfortable and casual with each other. And Julia's making frequent eye contact with Keith, and you see genuine smiling around that orbicularis muscle and the zygomatic muscle, and harmony within the two with her movements here. She does not detach him from herself, and verbally she's confirming that with the use of we, our, us. So she doesn't detach him from herself and considers them bonded and a couple.
I'm not a good actress.
Oh, I think your debut film was interesting.
My friends did a great job, but my acting let the team down a little bit. So,
All right, time for beer.
time for beer. Oh yes, instead of champagne, we have beer today. Cheers, queers. Anyway, so we decided to do...
So you see that eyebrow raise when he says interesting. Of course, he does not want to use the wrong word. He's careful and particular with his wording here, as he, of course, does not seem to like the film that she was in, but did find it different than others he has seen. So you see that eyebrow raise there, and the forehead creasing, and his head going back as he reflects within himself, thinking about what is the right word for this, and then he leans back towards Julia and lets her know that it was interesting.
We. I've had an idea. I bet most of you have heard of the show called Hot Ones. It's a really, really big show. They have like Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, Shakira, all the like big celebrities going on it. But basically they interview celebrities while they eat chicken wings with really, really hot sauce. Don't worry, I'm having vegan nuggets. You're having the real thing. And they have different levels of spiciness. I think on the show...
Now, normally when we're feeling content and happy with someone or something, our lips would be fuller. It would not be as compressed as Keith has his in the moment. That tells me that there's a level of disapproval that with the gulp and the slightly labored breathing there tells me that he's uncomfortable. He's not uncomfortable with Julia, however. I believe he's less comfortable with the fact that he's doing this podcast in the situation, and at one point he even states that he would rather be elsewhere doing something else. He perhaps does not like to be in front of the camera. That is where his discomfort and dislike is.
So they have 10 different levels, but we're gonna have 12. So it gets progressively spicier. So it starts off quite mild, and by the end of it, it's like painful.
That's something to look forward to.
I put your emergency milk over there. I'm gonna do my best not to...
You can even see that he avoids the camera. Now, in some cases, this could be an indication of deception. He's not saying anything necessarily that would tell me it's deception, and there's not a cluster of behaviors that tell me that he's hiding something. This is just an aversion to there being an audience. Now, when we think about aversion, it's pretty simple to recognize when someone's in disapproval of, uncomfortable with some situation, and that's usually done with turning away, eye blocking, that elongated blink, a high blink rate even, that indicates stress, nose touching. You'll see a number of things that indicate someone feels disapproval or discomfort around something. You'll see tongue juts, you'll see, mostly though, closing off and distancing, looking away, getting away from something, a raise of the upper lip, as we typically try to close off our olfactory senses when we're doing that, when we're disgusted by something. So a number of things that are pretty easy to tell that indicate someone is uncomfortable around a situation.
Drink milk because I'm trying to go vegan, but if I'm in pain. So I asked the people online to send me questions to ask Keith. So I'm going to be doing a Hot Ones style interview, and I'll be asking you questions while we try these 12 different hot sauces with vegan nuggets. It's actually supposed to...
Notice as well that neither of them have their chins down. They don't look necessarily protective and defensive around each other. Now, there's instances in this where Julia will distance herself a bit, close off a bit, and then she'll open back up. She'll move forward more towards Keith regarding their relationship, regarding something he says, such as when he says in this, that's what children would do when it comes to a reference about dinosaur-shaped baked chicken nuggets. He says that that is childlike and she will distance herself, close off a bit more, indicating that level of discomfort and that aversion to this. She is not comfortable with that, and perhaps because she has always been considered childlike in a negative way, and that affects her negatively.
With chicken wings, but I thought nuggets sounded more appealing.
Sounds like something children eat, but okay.
You're lucky I didn't make the dinosaur-shaped nuggets today. I was so happy the other day. I think you got me them. Dinosaur-shaped vegan nuggets. I was so happy. And we took them to the cinema, remember?
Yes.
It was lovely. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Right. So this is...
Now that eyebrow flash there when he says yes indicates a level of feeling that that was perhaps absurd, some disbelief around that. When someone is saying something that we find absurd, we might raise our eyes like this. You'll see the forehead creases, but you won't see much going on down here. That usually indicates someone feels that something is ridiculous. And of course, she closes off. She puts her hand on her knee and she distances herself a bit to Keith when he says that's something children would do, most likely because that has been a negative thing that she has been told before.
Sauce number 1, and with each sauce they add a different spicy ingredient. That's why it gets spicier and spicier. So this one is just jalapeno pepper.
Start off mild, eh?
So who do you think is gonna do better?
Well, I'm quite good at handling spicy things. I think probably you, because you tend...
You see a lot of aversion to that. He says, I'm used to handling spicy things, and he looks at her, which I don't know why she kept that in there, but he says this, raises his eyebrows. She pulls away. She has an eye blocking around that. She laughs, but it's only in the bottom of her mouth, not up here in the orbicularis muscles. And again, with that eye block and her distancing herself tells me that she's not really comfortable with that.
And to like more spicy things that are more spicy than I do, food that are more spicy than I do.
That's true, I eat spicier things than you, but I'm also more likely to cry about things. So I think if anyone's gonna make a big deal out of it, it's probably me. Alright, okay, sauce number 1. Ooh, didn't expect it to be so liquid. Here, put on quite a bit because it's the mild one. That is very nice. Not too spicy at all.
Now, often I will talk about how if someone has no blink rate and they're just staring down someone, it's that they're fixated on the reaction of the other person. And you very much see that here. I'm not saying she's being deceptive, just that this is an indicator she is more focused on what his reaction will be to the spice level than she is on how she feels about her own food here.
What are your 3 greatest business tips for lifelong success and prosperity? I want to know. You're quite good at business.
The first one I would say is honesty and integrity. If you're not honest with people, they won't be honest back. And if you don't treat people with respect, they won't respect you back. Second one I would say is take chances. When you see a chance, an opportunity, weigh it up. But take it if you never take a chance.
So he's very open and comfortable here with the arm on the back of the couch. However, she's more closed off. She has this barrier and she's looking down, reflecting within, remembering things, not fully focused on what he's saying and not reacting to that. She is more distracted with the food and perhaps recalling things she might know about what he's saying, but not fully focused on what he's saying. A bit closed off here.
You'll never win anything. And the third one I would say is hard work. I've always worked hard, worked long hours.
Sure.
Happiness and success is not necessarily measured in financial terms. I read a book many years ago, actually, quite an old book, called The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And it made quite a impact.
Now this is the part where we start to see Julia's chin is down. Again, she's reflecting within herself, but she's not open and close to and connecting with Keith. However, Keith's chin is up, exposing that vulnerable part of his body, and he perhaps feels a bit superior to her in this moment. Again, he's more open and dominating with that arm, and there's a lot of eyebrow flashes around the words when. There's no use of the words we and ours when it comes to him. He perhaps has more of a lack of harmony with Julia than Julia has with himself. She does not detach the two, but he seems to a bit here.
My life about way I perceive things, what's important to you really, and what makes you happy. And they're things that you can't replace honesty and integrity on family and funds is what makes you happy, in my opinion.
That's so true. I agree. I've always been very career focused my whole life. And now, as I'm getting a bit older, I'm realizing that really I should have focused a lot more on my family because I miss them so much. And I think I didn't prioritize them because I was always so focused on, my study.
She has an eye block around realizing, and then a very subtle eyebrow flash around family, that being of significance to her. Most likely what's taking place here is that she knows that she doesn't have the traditional family of a mother and a father. It is known by now that her father was not in the picture when she was younger, and perhaps her feeling a little bit of aversion to that, but that she misses her mother, that she misses her extended family back home sometimes, and she'll go visit them occasionally, but that she knows to some extent that she doesn't have that full traditional family, and that she would like to build a more traditional family or family of her own at the very least.
It is, and then my jobs and growing my little business and everything. And now I'm changing my mindset about that for sure.
It's very easy to get sucked into a career and
not on purpose.
And lose sight of things that like that. I worked very long and hard, particularly bringing up a family and.
Her body language is more controlled and closed off here, and her voice is much lower. She lacks confidence in what she's saying here. She's not feeling superior or dominant in this, and she is discussing in a very low voice how there are a lot of things she should have focused on, that she has these regrets, and that she tried but perhaps feels like a failure. All of this with the chin down indicates that she perhaps feels shame, no confidence, no certainty. She doesn't feel proud of her own achievements.
Paying bills and mortgages, and you end up missing the your children growing up because you work so long and so hard in order to fund it all that you end up missing it. And give them a good life and a good start in life, and you do end up missing it if you're not careful, so you do have to strike that balance.
Now, illustrators are something typically we will do to emphasize what we're saying, to confirm what we're saying in relation to what we're saying. So we might illustrate moving something position-wise, or it might be something very subtle that's not as noticeable, such as what Keith does here with his head. He moves his head in emphasis to his words, saying, in order to fund their future. And he looks off that direction, eye accessing, his eyebrow goes up, and he's just emphasizing with the forehead creasing and the movement of his head along with his words what he's saying. There's no negative tonality around this, no guilt or shame. He's feeling pretty confident. His posture is upright, comfortable, dominating. He feels confident in what he's saying and what he's talking about.
The thing I've been doing recently is I've been doing Ancestry. I've been tracking back my ancestors. Just sent off the DNA thing as well. I haven't got the results.
When do you think you're going to get the results? I'm so curious.
I think it said couple of weeks, I think it said. But so far, doing the Ancestry, I've got 1,100 people in the
Here there's an eyebrow flash around Ancestry and forehead creasing there, emphasizing that. His chin goes up. He brings significance to the word Ancestry as this is important. Then haven't got the results, his tone lowers and his chin goes down, protecting that vulnerable part of his body. This is perhaps because he's just not certain and confident about what's going to take place there, and that he's a bit stressed that the results have not arrived. Julia, however, is distracted, fidgeting, and then you see some adapters there, some self-soothing behaviors, and she is further closed off, not as casual and comfortable as we saw prior to this as he's discussing this. Perhaps there's some discomfort there, maybe because of, again, her own family and the dynamics there, but we don't see them as comfortable as they were prior to this. Most likely what took place is that Julie wanted to start this off strong. Everyone wants to start off their podcast and consistently be strong, but what took place over time was that she noticed perhaps this lack of harmony and could not mirror what he was saying confidently, as the dynamics of the two families and the age groups and their hobbies and likes are not necessarily the same. Despite her saying at one point that they spent a lot of time together 24/7, she says, of course, that is an exaggeration, but they spent a lot of time together. She uses the words, however, and he discusses, however, ancestry, brings significance to that and the past, and uses I, my, and talks about his own achievements. So he's very oriented in the past, very focused on the past and his past achievements, as she wants a future that's bright and full of family and achievements, not as proud of and confident with what she has achieved herself, and that perhaps she feels childish in this relationship. Now I'm going to end this here. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching.